Who is a prisoner of war? Prisoners of war are in most cases captured members of the enemy armed forces in an international armed conflict, that is a conflict between two or more states. The main treaty that regulates the treatment of prisoners of war is the Third Geneva Convention. It provides them with very specific legal protections to ensure that they are treated humanely and that they are not treated as criminals. Prisoners of war cannot be prosecuted for merely participating in hostilities. They can, however, be prosecuted for war crimes. Prisoners of war must be treated humanely and with respect for their honor in all circumstances. They are protected against any acts of violence, intimidation, insults, or exposure to public curiosity. The Third Geneva Convention also provides minimum conditions of detention such as accommodation, food, clothing, and medical care. At the end of active hostilities, prisoners of war must be released and repatriated without delay. How does international humanitarian law protect detained civilians? Anyone who is not a prisoner of war in an international armed conflict is protected by the Fourth Geneva Convention, Additional Protocol 1 to the Geneva Conventions and customary law, depending on factors such as their nationalities and the treaties ratified by the states involved. It cannot be emphasized enough that no one falls outside of the protection of international humanitarian law. What is most important is that civilians are protected by international humanitarian law no matter their conduct, even if they have directly participated in hostilities or become involved with an armed group. Civilians can, of course, be prosecuted for war crimes. They can also, in limited circumstances, be detained for security reasons. Such security detention, under the Fourth Geneva Convention, also called internment, is, however, a non-punitive, preventive form of detention, and the conditions of detention must be such that it does not amount to imprisonment by other means. Each interned person must be released as soon as the reasons justifying their internment no longer exist. What is the ICRC's role in detention in international armed conflict? The primary responsibility to respect the rights of detainees falls on the states parties to the conflict. In addition, the Geneva Conventions require states to give the International Committee of the Red Cross access to all places where people deprived of their liberty might be held. According to the Geneva Conventions, ICRC delegates must be allowed to speak with all detainees without witnesses and to select freely the places of detentions that they wish to visit. This is key to ensuring that the treatment of those deprived of their liberty complies with the law. The ICRC may also undertake other humanitarian activities for the benefits of people deprived of their liberty. For instance, at the request of the parties, the ICRC can, as a neutral intermediary, facilitate the release and safe transfer of prisoners of war or detainees. However, this all depends on states giving us access to places where people are being held. Without access, we cannot do our humanitarian work. How can people deprived of liberty be accounted for? The Geneva Conventions require states parties to establish national information bureaus to collect and transmit information on prisoners of war and civilian internees to the ICRC's Central Tracing Agency. The system aims to provide information to their families and to prevent people from going missing by accounting for them.